Hi everyone, this is Messy Coder back again with another live dev interview, this time with Stan the Man from Stan's Assets. This was taken from my Twitch stream, www.twitch.tv/themessycoder. You can catch me Fridays and Saturdays doing live dev interviews, having fun, making games, and being silly. Now if you're making a mobile game with an Android, or with Apple, or with, well, no one's using Microsoft anymore, are they? Then you need Stan's Assets, so sit back, enjoy this vid, and I'll see you all in a second. Do you want to give us a little brief introduction to Stan the Man?
Yeah, I mean, why not? So I'm actually was working with the assets probably for the last 5 years, and I also do games. That's how it started. We was trying to build tools for our games, and then decided to put it in a community, and then started to make those assets. So that's how it went.
I'm just putting a link in chat for people who haven't seen your stuff. It's a ridiculous number of stuff that you've got on the asset store.
Yeah, we been working there for the last 5 years probably, but you can easily see that there is the first probably 3 or 4, those the core assets. We had a lot more, but then we decided to cut the number, and mostly from the technical assets only leave the one that we really like and that can really show the quality, and then of course just leave some graphics and stuff, because why not?
What was your first one that you worked on?
It was actually the iOS native asset. This was the first one, and but currently there is no more this asset in the store. That is one of the assets that got deprecated, and then we have the Pro line. But what we did for previous users who already got non-pro iOS native, Ultimate, Android assets, we just made this add-on so they can easily upgrade. That is we wanted to make it free, but Asset Store didn't allow it, so upgrade for all users around $1. That's as lowest as we can go.
So it doesn't let you do stuff for free?
No, I mean, if you want one package to be upgradable to another, it's supposed to cost at least anything, just at least $1. That is the minimum amount they allow you to set. So that's what we did, because we deprecated a lot of the previous assets, and we didn't want users to feel kind of abandoned. So we just made this add-on so all the old users can upgrade to a Pro for as low as $1.
It's a bit of a pain in the bum when you've got these restrictions on the asset store and people don't really know about it, and they're wondering why.
Yeah, that's why actually we kind of out of vouchers for those Pro lines, because sometimes somebody can't pay $1 or something, so we always tell them that, hey, we can give you a free voucher because we want it to be free in the first place. So then, but most people can just grab an update, but kind of.
The package that didn't seem to work, so I'm just downloading the package you sent me again to get it in. So I think wasn't fully downloaded.
Okay, let me know if you want me to send it again.
So this is, you got many assets.
So this is one the top one, the Ultimate Mobile. This is probably the top asset.
Hence the name, Ultimate.
Yeah. So it's kind of, we have the iOS native assets and Android native asset. And then what Ultimate Mobile does, it's actually include both of iOS and Android native assets. So you can still use them because they have a lot of platform specific features and then Ultimate adds like two things on top of it. So first of all, it gives you the cross-platform API, so it's like a wrapper on top of the facets, and it also adds the editor testing, so you can kind of like test your stuff while you're still an editor, so you don't have to build on a real device. If it works at least in the editor, then you can be pretty certain that it's going to work in a play mode as well on a real device. In case you did like all the services setups correctly, I mean like iTunes and Google Play and all that stuff, but at least you can test your implementation. And on top of that, Ultimate Mobile also add like a bunch of different services. So it's add like cross-platform API for, it's not really cross-platform, I would say like cross-service API, for example, for analytics, for advertisement, and for different like things. So for example, you can have like one entry point for analytics and have your analytics reported pretty much everywhere, like inside the Google, inside the Unity, inside the Facebook, and we just do those wrappers and supporters with different services. So that's why, so that's what actually the Ultimate is.
Just looking at it, you've got Firebase integration. I mean, that's a pain in the bum by itself. So you've got, I can do proper push notifications for my game using with this.
Yeah, I mean, and here's only listed the cross-platform APIs. I mean, it's a lot more inside of the native plugins. So there is like a super small amount that can be actually wrapped and worked on both platforms. Because like native plugins, they also have something like super specific. For example, like iOS native has a replay kit, and there is like no, pretty much like no native addition to a replay kit inside the Android. So that's why there is like no screen share API like the cross-platform one. So yeah. But as I said, those guys are still included in a package, and whenever you need something special, you got to cover it.
There's just so much bloody stuff in this pack.
Yeah, I mean that is a lot of things.
I got a question here from Bit Gaming. I love the look of this asset. Native camera image access on Android and iOS would be awesome. Any plans to add Amazon support?
We actually had the image access from the camera. You can capture the pictures. You can get pictures from the gallery, and that works in both iOS and Android. And it also works inside the Ultimate. So it kind of like cross-platform API is already there for you. You can even pick videos and get thumbnails of them, also get the thumbnails of those videos. And but obviously we will not transfer the whole video inside the Unity, but you can get a local link. So then you can put this video to good use if you want to. In terms of the Amazon, we actually had the Amazon. And the issue with the native plugins, it's actually hard and expensive to support it. So that's why Amazon is one of those who got deprecated, because it's like only a tiny amount of people actually use it, and then of like huge amount of work that you need to do to support it, not even to make it. So probably Amazon are not going to come anytime soon. Only if like majority of Unity developers will do a feature request for that, then yeah, because all we do right now is actually the feature requests. So pretty much for native plugins, I'm not coming up with the features myself. It's only like the feature requests. For example,
yeah, tell me.
Yeah, for example, the last one we had. So this for replay kit API. It's actually somebody asked that there is like replay kit gives you ability to record your screen while you're playing, and then you can use it to share the video and stuff. So one of the requests was the replay kit now has ability to actually broadcast the screen. And I think that is a great request for gaming. And that's why we will do it like shortly.
I was going to ask, have you got any like Twitch integration going on?
I think it's like so they will give you like a streaming integration, and then you can stream it whatever you want. So that is the way I think it should work, because you have like Twitch Mobile and all that stuff. Well, we will shortly experiment with it, and we'll see how it works.
I've loaded up the both assets into the same project
Okay,
I had, and
cool.
immediately I was like,
Yeah,
"What's
you've
this?"
got one missing references. Okay, so let me talk a little bit about Scene Validator. Scene Validator is actually have to keep your scene clean. So it's try to find the issues on your scene and ask you to fix it. And you can also can create your own rules, and then it will look for those rules and will make sure that like those rules are followed. Because for example, when you work in a team or when you work with like programmer and designer, it's really hard to at least follow like structural conventions and everything. Because because like the coders and designers, they have like different minds, and from my experience, when you work like with a lot of designers, you actually need to stay on top of them to make sure that everything is structured properly. But this is the tool that can actually help you. And again, if you have like big team and there is like more and less experienced developers, so you can actually define a set of rules to make sure nobody will make a mistake. Because like every small mistake, that is potentially a bug, and this tool is trying to prevent you from doing that. So, for example, it's already found the missing references, and that window, it actually is supposed to bother you. So whenever you see it, it means something is not okay,
It's a bad
and
thing.
yeah, you just need to look into it. So as well as like in hierarchy, you got like pop-ups with red and yellow sign. So again, that is all just to bother you, to explain that something is wrong. And if you will just click on inspector, you will see what is actually wrong with it, because you just need to open an inspector, right? So it's actually tell you that. So this is like something about naming conventions that can be enabled or disabled. Of course, is just text isn't good name.
Mm.
It doesn't tell you anything.
How
For
did
example, if you have
how did you know that? Where's so that's in the rule that you said that it's
yeah, those like some kind of default rules are working right now. You can go to the settings to see what kind of rules are working right now. So yeah, that is a report. It tells you all about your scene, and that is the settings. So actually, there is like default rules section, and under the default, I wonder why color is like that. The bottom one. Okay, never mind. So there is like default rules, and you have like naming convention enabled, and that is some names that should be ignored. That is super basic stuff, and you don't have to use it. You can come up with your own, and make own rules and all.
you got
So
regex. I was
yeah,
about to say, yeah, but do you have regex in here? They're like, oh, you've got it.
yeah. But that is just a sample. You can easily make the same conventional rule without using this guy. But that is just something I thought just more for demonstration. So it will try to force you to avoid using names like game object, button, text, panels, and some names that actually contains those braces. So it will be trying to locate them on a scene and warn you about it. If you will disable it, then all warning signs will gone, and it will only leave us with the missing reference, which is definitely a no-go.
So
So
that one
and
is this dull wood.
yeah, right. So you can need to go to inspector to see what's going on there. It's actually, what does it say?
Missing animator reference.
Yeah. So there is no animator. So there is no controller.
Issue found on dull wood. Property
Yeah.
M_controller.
So yeah, it's just kind of try to analyze this realized object and just to see what's going on inside. So there is like two sets of rules that you can make. It's the rules per component, so you can check and validate your component. The example is, for example, you don't want any negative colliders in your scene, so you can have a rule and to check that out, and then it will look for all the negative colliders and will highlight them. So there's like per component rules, and there is also like the scene context rules. So we can probably load an example scene to show how it works. So the scene context rules means like there is not a big deal if you have, for example, a particle system in your scene. I mean, it's fine to have particle systems in your scene, but having 100 particle system in a scene, it's probably the time when you want to say slow down to your designer. So kind of so those like major rules.
Yeah.
I mean, like the types. And then once you created them, it will work all the time in your editor, but it will not slow it down because everything is time sliced. It will analyze your scene over time and will try to highlight the issues you made by yourself, actually. I mean, to find all the rules. And then in play mode, it will just do nothing. There is, yeah, can you just probably, so we try to follow the naming conventions with our plugin, so you always know a certain scene or certain script is belong to a certain plugin. So this code is SV, so you can just type SV and look for scenes in a project, and then you will find the example scene probably. Like scene, yeah, like scene validator, and then just change. Yeah, you're right. I mean, you can just change objects type you're looking for to a scene.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, so there is like one of the scenes that also have had an issue, and there is an example that we can add. So there is like, yeah, negative box validator and particle system validator. So the way you add in the rules actually is by simply drag and drop them. I mean, you should make a script. There is like an interface that you should follow to actually make a script. And once you're done, you can actually derive it from automatic interface that will automatically pick up your script for the validator, or you can just need to drag and drop them inside the custom rules. So that's what you kind of can do right now.
You may define your custom validation rules using this menu. Please note, or you've got an e-message, that your rule has to implement the SV_I validation rule interface.
Yeah. So there is like real easy to make rules. So we also described all of that inside the guide section. There is like certain examples how you make it. There is like more advanced and less advanced. So because sometimes you just wanna say, I don't want like empty text, or my label's supposed to have a localization component attached. Because if it's not attached, I mean, it means I will have something not localized in my game, and it's not right. So, of course, there is sometimes you can't like apply this to all the objects, right? For example, you have majority of labels that have, like, for example, that need to have validation component. But some of the labels they just, I don't know, they just there, and they does not have to be localized at all. So that's why there is like an ignore feature, and you can ignore specific rule for the specific component. Besides that, there is also automatic resolution feature. So you can define if you want something to be automatically resolved, or if it can't be automatically resolved, you can also do that. So the example, so again, so you can, for example, add the localization to your label automatically. Yeah.
Anyone else? We've only been streaming for a couple of hours, Z Doctor.
Yeah.
Alright, so hang on. And that
Sure.
guides that you're talking about before, that's in here, in this guides tab.
Yeah, yeah. So just trying to maintain guides inside the asset all the
Oh,
time.
cool, man.
So yeah, so you can, for example, if you're interested how to like inside the inspector UI, what all the settings mean, or how to make like your own rules, you just have the guide section that you can just simply click and see how to make it. So for example, you can click on some kind of like simple rule or something.
Ooh, oh.
I guess just yeah.
Right, so if I go into, hang on, I've got default rules. These are the naming convention ones. I've got missing reference detection rules, missing components rules, and then I've got my own custom rules. So should I click plus on the custom rules? What do you want me to do?
Yeah, there is like also a few custom example rules there. So you can just hit the plus button and just drag and drop a few of them in there.
So wow, okay, that's quite a
Yeah, you can just drag and drop because you also have the open it inside the project.
Which one do you want me to grab? Just these ones here.
Yeah, this one there. Because you won't able to drag and drop another scripts, it will give you an error because those scripts are not actually. And you see we have like more issues already. So if you will add one more on top of it,
Let's do it.
like drop the particle one and it will find something else.
Well, look.
Yeah, so now you have all set. So it's found actually like some colliders with the negative size, and it also found like the particle system limit exceeded for a scene. So yeah, that's how it works.
So if I look at one of these, open one of these scripts up.
Yeah, sure. Yes, those are designed to be like really, really simple. So there is like a few functions that you actually like need to define. The first one is, I guess it's a little bit higher, where you're actually saying if that is something wrong or not with the object is actually on validate. So you define the component you want to validate. In this case, this is a box collider. For example, if you want to go through all the components in your scene, you can just say, I want a component. Or if you want to go through the old game objects, you can say, I want to transform. In this particular case, we just want the box collider transform. The box collider component, and then we just check in if there is like any negative value inside its size, and if it does, we say this is an error, and if it's not, we say okay, that's all good. Then you can also make your own inspector if you want it. In this case, there is just a help box that describes why it's highlighted, and then you can also define if it actually has the resolution or not. In this case, it always has a resolution because we can always tweak like negative values into the positive values. So that's why, and then we will design how do we want to resolve this issue.
I'd love to see this with scriptable objects.
What do you mean?
You know, like find a way that rather than sitting here coding all the different
Okay.
bits, to be able to have like some kind of WYSIWYG scriptable object builder tooly thing.
Yeah, I got it.
But that's I'm obsessed at the moment. I'm obsessed with scriptable objects. So, yeah. You got to put the kettle on. Scriptable object has to do it. So, well,
Yeah, totally. Well, the other like interesting thing we have about it, it's actually came from as a feedback from different companies who've been already using it with like pretty much big projects. Is that just when they have bigger teams, for example, like 20 people who work on the same project, it could be a little bit overwhelming with all those issues, and that because For example, they defined certain like rules to follow for the art team, and they defined like certain rules to follow for the developers. But in the end of the day, if you have like huge project, and once you define all those rules, it just started to highlight everywhere. So it just showing that like all these scenes are having an issues and so on and so on. And what happens is that when designer is opening the scene and it has like 15 issues inside, he doesn't know what to do with it because probably he can't fix all of this because those are just issues for the developers. And when developers see the issues for the designers, they also just ignore them.
Yeah.
And then it's just develop the tend to ignore, which is opposite with what we want. We just try to bother people as much as we can with this like scene view window, with those like gizmos inside the hierarchy view, tell them that, hey guys, you have something you're not supposed to have, because those all are like potential errors, those all are potential bugs in your game you don't want to have. But like when people started to get overwhelmed with this, they tend to ignore it. So that's why we come up with the presets, so we can actually define who should actually be notified by this rule. Is this just only for designers? Is this just only for level developers? Is it just only for programmers? And
That's
then
nice,
and then just different teams can be not overwhelmed by the issues that they doesn't know how to fix.
Well, it's exactly because they're not relevant for everyone. And if you get people into the habit of ignoring, then they're going to ignore the stuff that they need to be fixing.
Yeah, then there is like no point of this, because this is something that should be, I mean, you should never see this. If you do, then there is something really bad and you need to look at it right now. So that was the concept of that tool. And so that's why we really valued this feedback when people started to ignore the issues and added this feature as well. And another settings is just a bunch of the stuff that give you ability to fine tune the tool. I mean, the way it looks, what it does, the way it works, and so on and so on.
So how long has this been taking you to develop?
This one, I mean, it's hard to say because I personally really like it, and we didn't plan any like assets to develop like this, but it was like super slow, like, you know, because there wasn't like dedicated time to do this. It probably was few months here and there before we decided that it actually can be an asset and it actually can be put on a market, but then we need to like fine tune it and everything. So probably we've been playing around with it for around like 4 months, but it's not much of the code there. But before putting it on the market, we wanted to make sure that like there is also few big teams are using it and could put it to good use, and then we can just show it to everybody. And because this is something that has to test your scene, has to validate it with the rules you came up with, because that is your scene. And there is it also can be, well, found out it can be used in. So for example, when we updated to 2018.3, I guess, we have like bunch of issues with the lights, and we had a project that has over 100 of scenes. And we're like, okay, so we have the issues with the light, there is the way to fix it. Let's just make a rule that will have an automatic resolutions and will able to fix those issues automatically. That we made that rule, but you will need to manually click the fix or resolve button on every scene, which is annoying when you have like 120 scenes. So then we also made a feature that you can run bunch resolve. So you can just give it like the array of the scenes you want resolve, and then tool will analyze all those scenes one by one, and if it will find the issues that have auto resolution on it, it will just resolve it. And then so for example, if in one day you decided that you don't want to use certain scripts, or like, I don't know, so for example, what we also had on a WebGL, on a text field, you need to put the caret size of that, like for a cursor, for at least like 3 pixels. because if it's one, sometimes it gets obscured and you don't see that blinking cursor. So again, 120 scenes, pretty annoying to do. So we just make a rule that it's supposed to be like at least 3 pixels, and then we run just after resolution.
Man, it's like find replace on steroids for
Yeah,
coders.
yeah, something like that. But you can put any logic to it you want.
Oh man. I mean, the potential on it is massive.
Yeah, because our next thoughts on it is actually validate your builds. So for example, when you do build, we can validate of what actually you build in and let you know is like if something bad is inside your build currently. I mean, if there is any issues found by validator while you are building the scenes, and then at least to give you a report, or if you like super hardcore quality guy, then probably there will be an option that we will interrupt a build and say like, no, there is an issues. Just go fix it before you build it. So something like that. So that's like thoughts for a future to actually like bend it with the builds, or at least just provide you reports or something. And for big like scenes, like huge project that has like huge word maps, it can generate a report with the like with information where the issue was found. So then you can display it later with the cache file in your project.
Oh man. We've got Z Doctor in chat. Z Doctor, man, you've been doing manual labour. You've been up for ages. Get yourself to bed, man. Z Doctor's a legend. He's stacking with the chat. He's in pain. He's gone to get his water. His body hurts. Get yourself some rest, man. Z Doctor.
Yeah.
That's the thing though. When you get in on these streams, it's addictive. But before Z Doctor collapses, I want to say thank you for Migs the Just for the host. Thank you for the host, buddy. And we've got 5 copies of the scene validator to give away, don't we, Stan?
Yeah, we do.
Should we raffle it? I think my timing is, oh man, this has actually gone by really quickly. I was just even talking about the scene validating before we began with the mobile. Let me click reset on that. So the mobile stuff that we were talking about before, all of the different, even the native and the cross-platform stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I was chatting to you earlier that I haven't really played. Everyone asks me mobile questions. I've never done anything with mobile because the whole concept of having to worry about supporting the stores is the thing that stopped me. Not developing, but how to get it into the asset store, into the mobile stores, how to do the updates, how to make sure that you're compliant and have all of the analytics in there, and also because GDPR, having to make sure that all of that's taken care of. So the ultimate stuff is that's handling all of that.
At least it tries to. I mean, so it tries to like give a little bit of pain out of you. So you still need to maintain the stores and everything, but at least you'll have the like API to do this.
Yeah.
So I mean, you will at least have like the cross-platform API. So like let me put it like that. So you have right now the plugin inside the project, right?
Yeah, I've put in the hang on, coughing my guts out. I've imported it in.
Yeah, so you can kind of like open the settings then. It's gonna go under the Stints Assets cross-platform probably.
Everyone at home can't see that yet. Hang on, coughing my guts out. So iOS, Android, cross-platform.
Yeah, so right. You just need the cross-platform because iOS and Android will be included there. Right. This guy. Just go for services.
Oh, look at all that.
Yeah, so that's a big guy. So on the top, you have actually access to native plugins. iOS and Android kind of like copies of the menu, and this is like the ultimate mobile. Those are cross-platform services. So, for example, if you will look, let's say on let's look on Android first. You just click on Android, right? So this will switch you to Android plugin. For example, if you want to add the Google Play or Vending API, then you have like certain services enabled. As you see, those are disabled by default because, I mean, I get that users want to have their project as clean as possible. Then that's why we have all the models that you can enable or disable. So and the thing is about the native plugins, like Android native, it actually gives you like the exact API that you would have on Android. At least we try to make it like absolutely the same. And the reason is because there's like no point to come up with other API that Google already did. We just want to have ability to use it inside the Unity. And also, like each service, as you see, has the guides, so you can always know what's inside and how to use it by just clicking on those links. And if you will click on the service itself, then you will able to set it up, because they different services have like different amount of settings you can need to play with before it can be used. So with that said, so it's kind of like will give you the same native API you would have if you would work not with Unity, but for example, Android Studio with the pure Android. After that, if you're using the Ultimate Mobile, and if that service has a cross, use Ultimate Mobile, which has the simplified API, which means it's a lot more simpler to set it up and a lot more simpler to use. So that was our strategy. So those native files give you direct access to the API that already like designed by Apple and Google. We just basically give you an access and ability to enable, disable certain parts. When the Ultimate Mobile actually gives you the simplified version of it. So yeah.
I'm a little bit daunted, but I feel like I can give it a go. So there's a lot of guides and manuals to click on that one. But let's pick a winner. Remember to wipe. Great name. Remember to wipe. Congratulations. Let me stick you down in there. Don't forget that you got to get yourself in with a chance to win. So put yourself the exclamation mark raffles if you want to be in. You've got to be a follower, and also if you didn't win, you can also always do exclamation mark Stan, and you can purchase his stuff, because his stuff's for sale. It's not just giving it away for free. You can buy it on the asset store. All right, there you go, exclamation mark Stan. There's also merchandise as well, Messy Coder merchandise. If you want to support the stream and look cool at the same time, then you can do exclamation mark merch and do a clickety click and buy some cool merch. All right, allow entries in again. So if you didn't click it in before, you can do your exclamation mark raffle. I'll give you another 30 seconds to come in with your exclamation mark raffle. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Alright. Boom. Alright, next winner was Jim the V. Jim the V.
Ooh.
Congratulations, Jim the V. Or Jim Thev. And Jim Dev. I like Jim the V. That's your new name. Jim the V.
Yeah.
You're a winner. Congratulations. Do not forget that you need to be a follower. Click on that follow button. You need to send me a message on Twitch and a message on Discord, and give me your email address and I'll send it out to you. So everyone who's won, give me your email addresses on a private message, and if you haven't already done so and you've left, and I'll message you back. But yeah, need your name, not your real name and address, obviously, because that'd be weird, but your email address at least, and your name on Discord. !Discord in chat. If you want to give me your real name and address, you can do if you want. It's a bit weird, but you know, you wouldn't be the first person to do that, and you probably won't be the last. Alright, so we've got 3 more copies thanks to Stan the Man. Oh my word, it keeps on winning all night long. All night long. Hi, Call Me Aces, or Chlamachles, has won yet again. Congratulations, Chlamachles. You are a winner. And we got 2 more copies of Scene Validator. Remember to speak up in chat. Big Gamey! Big Gamey! You finally won something. Whoa! And you got 30 seconds for the last one. 30 seconds for the last one. It's like you were in from the time you did ! Raffle from before. It's not like ! Raffle each time. If it's a set of 5 and you did ! Raffle for the first one and you didn't win, your name carried over until the end of that set of 5. That's how the raffle works. It's because it's a raffle. Because you did type it in, your name's in there. You did. Trust me. You must have done, because I cleaned it and I stuck it in. It didn't just make it up. I think you've got an addiction, Big Gamey, where you type ! Raffle and you don't even know what you're raffling for, mate. Remember to wipe. You already on the big Aries the Dog Studios. Aries the Dog Studios has come along with Big Gamey for his asset store raffle addiction. Congratulations. Can I re-gift? You can re-gift if you want. You want me to re-roll it? Big Gamey, do you want me to re-roll it? It doesn't mean that you're going to get a better chance to win something else. Okay? You're going for the re-roll. He's going for the ultimate. He just wants some karma. You want some karma with the karma fairies. Hang on. Oh my word. Yolan Other. Yolan is actually one of the people that could really use Scene Validator, because
that's cool.
He's making assets that really need some help. Rigged! It's always rigged. It's always rigged. It happens quite a lot. People there's other people out there would have better use for an asset and they re-roll it. So yeah, it does happen. People are very honest when it comes to the raffles. Whereas me, if I were winning, cool. I'd be like, no, give me everything. Give me everything, damn you.
I will probably use it later, right?
Exactly. Buddy, thank you so much for popping in. Thank you for waiting and hanging around. Much appreciated. Please can I have another ! Stan in chat for Stan the Man with his Scene Validator and the ultimate mobile, but it's not just that. I mean, let me just pop back into my browser so everyone can see. Let's go back up. If you all can see at home. Right, so look at these are the ones that he hasn't deprecated and taken off. So you got all these cool mobile stuff. You got an After Effect importer. You've got mobile ads, and then you've got me coughing all over your face. You've got US muscle car packs. It's like, hang on a minute.
Yeah, like why not? A little bit of graphics.
Every now and again, throw a bit of graphics and an entire game kit as well for a racing game.
Yeah.
So pretty much, if you're looking for it, Stan can make it. Oh, Google Spreadsheets. I've got use for that one.
Yeah, I mean, what we did with it is actually allows you to store your localization data and gameplay data. I mean, when it's just easier to store it with the Google Sheets, and then you can share it. For example, just say, hey, can you just localize this for me? Here is this spreadsheet, just fill the spots. Or for example, like with the game design data, it's also like really convenient because you can use any formatting you want, and then you can use this data in your game. So that's actually helped quite a lot to us, and we've mostly been using it for localization because it's like super convenient. You can have like different sheets for different areas of the project, like main menu, gameplay, store, and then like inside the spreadsheet you can just have like different languages for like English, Russian, German, whatever, and then the easiest you can just simply share it with everybody in your team, or just send it to a guy who will translate it for you.
I never even thought of doing that. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that is also something that we did for ourselves initially, but then decided why not to put it on the market, because it works really good for us, and why not?
Well, necessity is the mother of all invention. Well, mate.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. All right, congratulations to the winners. Thank you so much, Stan. I will catch you later, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good day, guys.
Well, that was it for another live dev interview. I hope you had fun and enjoyed yourselves. You too can take part if you pop over every Fridays and Saturdays at alderws.twitch.tv/themessycoder, 9 PM GMT time. If you want to know what it is in your time zone, use Google. So don't forget to all of your friends and neighbours. If you do like it, click it. Till next time. If you want to see more of my crazy videos, click on the left side of your screen now. And down below, there's that big juicy subscribe button. And right next to it is the magic bell that if you click it, it will tell you if I've got a new video coming out. Till next time.